up, wake up, wake up. It's the Flow Show, no filter. Man, we got a lot to talk about today, y'all. Unbelievable day with Cassie testifying. But first, let me cover my ass, no Diddy. The thoughts, views, and opinions shared at the Flow Show, no filter are for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a professional. I am just good. Happy hump day. Wednesday. Got a crazy show again, y'all. This trial is like no other. I'm getting Facebook loaded up. I don't know what's going on. The technology is acting crazy today, but I'm gonna push through because as long as I got a microphone and the community listening to me, that's all I need. The rest of this is it'll work itself out. But definitely, oh my God, y'all. I don't even know where to fucking start today. But Cassie with an emotional trial testimony. A lot was exposed. And a lot of unbelievable stuff, y'all. Shout out to everybody in the building, the breakfast crew as always. Every day we here at 7:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. And let me read. And y'all, it's gonna be a little hard for me to read. For some reason, my screen is like tiny, and I was trying to fix it before I came on. I don't know what the heck that is all about. So it's hard for me to see. So it's gonna be difficult for me to read some of y'all chats, but it's okay. Like I said, we ain't gonna let nothing stop us. But Joel says, I know I'm early, but good morning, crew. Flo, I thought you should know. I can't hear no one else report on this but you. I cringe when I see others tell it and spin it their way. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, and y'all know I don't hate on anybody. I want to see everybody win, but it's not too many people out there covering this Diddy trial that I could even listen to myself. Uh, if if I could pat myself on the back, I'm definitely the best one covering this Diddy trial. I don't even think it's nobody close, but I am gonna say it is one person I really do like listening to, and his name is Ticket TV on YouTube. He kind of gives updates all day long. He works very hard. He makes a lot of sense. But outside of that, I'm telling y'all, this trial is really showing me the difference between me and what the rest of these people are doing. And I just feel good that I got a community to cover this with, and that I've been given a platform to say what needs to be said in this case, and to be fair and give you all the actual facts without spinning it and just giving you my opinion. For some people, for some reason, a lot of people have this need for everybody just to agree with them. So as they cover it, they're putting their spin on it and making sure it lines up with whatever they feel. I'm the opposite. I don't have any desire for people to agree with me. Like, I just want to tell y'all all the facts and then give y'all my opinion, and go from there. Like, that's why it's no spin, or I'm gonna give you exactly what really went on, whether it sides with what we believe or what I believe, or it goes against what I believe. And today is gonna be just like every other show. I'm gonna give you both sides and give you my honest take on what the hell going on. So I appreciate everybody who appreciates my commentary on this case, and I definitely agree with y'all. I'm not gonna lie. I can't even listen to 99% of the people covering this case. On one instance, they don't know anything about the culture. On another instance, they're spinning their narrative, and other instances, it just feels cheesy and bland. So shout out to y'all. Let's get right into it. Enough about everybody else. Let's talk about this case. Cassie took the stand yesterday, and by the time she was finished, There was not a dry in the courtroom besides maybe Mohawk Diddy. Very emotional, very sad to have to hear it from the horse's mouth. The stuff that she went through, and to know that she met Diddy at 19, and he was damn near 40, and he signed her to a 10-album deal, which is basically like a slave deal, which is basically, I am trying to control you. And she didn't have anybody to give her, guide her and tell her, like, look, don't sign this deal. And so you can tell that the manipulation and everything Diddy planned on was pretty much planned out the gate. I mean, you got a 19-year-old woman coming and she wants a record deal, and you sign her to a 10-album deal, which is basically half her, well, not half, but her whole career life. You knew what you were up to. But let's get into it. This gonna be a tough one today, y'all. Like, because it's sad when I see a lot of the men comments. It's just sad, and I don't understand why we have so many people, and most of them are men, and there's some women who don't even understand the charges, who don't even understand the case. They just coming out saying whatever. Just she was there for 10 years. She could have left at any time. It's like, motherfucker, do you understand the fucking case? It don't matter if she was there 100 years. That don't have nothing to do with any of the charges. We're talking about coercion and sex trafficking. It don't matter about time. Do you know there are people who have been raised from kids and are subject to abuse and been hidden away and to their damn near 30 years old, which would be almost 30 years, and they were sex trafficked and coerced? So I just had to put that out there before I even continue. It's like, shut up if you don't take the time to read the actual case and the actual charges and understand the fucking charges. Like, let me continue with Cassie, but that's the one disappointing part, is like, people don't even understand what the charges even mean. They are acting like this is being held in a court of the barbershop or the court of the beauty shop. This is a federal real case. If you don't understand the charges, look them up. And after we get done with all this Cassie testimony and I break all this stuff down, I am going to, at the end or in the middle of this show, talk to people out there that might not even understand what the hell is going on. And I'm going to explain to y'all what the charges are and how they apply to this case. Now, it's up to the jury and the judge to decide guilt or innocence. But it's up to me as a podcaster to at least let the people who really want to understand what's going on, it's up to me to explain the fucking charges, because obviously so many people don't even know what the hell or even understand the charges. Sex trafficking ain't just pulling up in a white van and kidnapping 20 people and selling them for sex, because that's what people think. They think that's the only thing with sex trafficking is, and it's not that. That's one part or one example of sex trafficking. So I'm gonna get into that later. I'm a little frustrated because it's unbelievable how many people don't know what the hell they're talking about, and nobody is even not too many podcasters or YouTubers are even doing a great job of even explaining this shit. They're so busy just trying to be the breaking news and report all the raunchy clickbait shit. They not even explaining shit. So I'm gonna get into that, y'all. You know, I didn't even mean to start off ranting today, but let's start off with the article, Daily Mail. It's Cassie Daily Mail has one. Cassie Ventura shocks Diddy courtroom by naming insiders who helped arrange freak-offs and abuse. So we'll get into this article, and one part of Cassie's testimony, besides all the emotional and nasty trifling freak off mess that Diddy allegedly had her doing. One thing that a lot of people didn't pay attention to that was damaging to Diddy's case. Now, some things actually didn't go against Diddy in this testimony. There were some things that may have went in the defense's way, and I'll explain that. But one thing that people ain't paying attention to is Cassie was being very honest. You can tell she wasn't just saying stuff that whatever would sink Diddy. She was just saying her honest feelings. She participated in freak offs because a lot of times she didn't want someone else to be in the freak off with Diddy. And she explained that she really loved him and things of that nature, as well as the manipulation and coercion that went on and intimidation. But one thing that was spelled out with Cassie's testimony that people aren't really paying attention to are two major things. One is, as she honestly answered these questions, she detailed all the different workers who were involved in helping, which is where RICO comes in, where racketeering comes in. When you use your business and everybody and all your employees are working in cahoots to help you with your criminal activity. And Cassie spelled that out as she answered everything honestly about when she would say, well, I would talk to this person and this person would get the drugs. And it would be, let's say, Christy Corm, who I'm going to touch on if I have a little time, who is the chief of staff, who everyone says was the main culprit helping Diddy do this shit, where Christina says that's not the case. But according to Cassie, she did help. And another thing Cassie spelled out as she honestly answered the questions was how this alleged sex trafficking went on in different states, New York, LA, this, that, and the third. Why is that important? Because that is what makes this a federal case. Because this sex trafficking crossed state lines. These are the type of things that people who are commenting on this case and saying one way or the other, saying they're not proving nothing, they have no evidence, they don't even understand it. If you look at the fucking charges, that's exactly what they're proving. Now, the defense still has to cross-examine. And this is going to be a tough cross-examination. So I'm not even here saying that it was just a slam dunk for the prosecution yesterday, because it wasn't. But what I am saying, there was a lot of shit that was proven through Cassie's testimony that is exactly what Diddy is on trial for. But understand, the defense is going to cross-examine the shit out of Cassie. So it's still up in the air as far as how damaging or how not damaging this testimony is going to be for the defense. So let's continue. Daily Mail, the article goes in and says, Sean Diddy Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassie took the stand on Tuesday and is currently testifying in this bombshell case. The singer described being psychologically and physically abused by the star since she was at least 21. She told the jury that Diddy would use his assistants and other employees to impose his will. This is exactly what the fuck racketeering and having a criminal enterprise is about. I'm gonna repeat that. She told the jury that Diddy would use his assistants and other employees to impose his will. Racketeering, running a criminal enterprise, check. Continue. Cassie named several Diddy staff members she claimed would arrange the freak-offs and punish her by taking her things away if she displeased him. This is the patented definition of coercion. Coercion, using things to manipulate and force someone into having sex or any type of act. This is what coercion is, and I'm talking to the people in the back. This is what coercion is, when you use money or power or influence in order to make someone feel forced to do some type of act. In this case, we're talking about sexual acts. Let me continue. Before Cassie took the stands, lawyers asked the judge to ban Cassie's husband, Alex Fine, from the courtroom while she testified because they may want to call him as a witness later. Combs' defense says he is guilty of domestic violence, but not of sex trafficking or racketeering, and that the government is targeting him for his sexual preferences. Now it goes on. And I'm going to stop right there, and that is what we are looking at. Before I continue, Cassie's testimony is a battle between the prosecution and the defense. The prosecution, of course, is trying to prove racketeering, sex trafficking, and coercion. The defense is going to try to prove that this is nothing more than domestic violence and consensual sex by a couple. That is the battle we are looking at. And that is the battle that will continue. And I believe Cassie's going to be on this stand for the rest of this week, I believe. So let me continue. During her testimony on Tuesday, Cassie mentioned several of Diddy's employees and allies, including his trusted assistants, Christina Korm and Neil Dominic. Christina Korm was previously named by others as a fixer who allegedly helped Diddy set up the infamous freak-offs. Everything from scheduling to what kind of mood he was in. Cassie said when asked what she discussed with Korm, she said, "I talked to Korm about a lot. She knew a lot of my personal things." Cassie also claimed Diddy's security guard, D-Rock, or Rock, used to take away her things as punishment, as advised by Diddy. She also said the guard would come find her when she tried to hide from Diddy. And I quote Cassie, "I get in my car, I get my car taken away, get kicked out of my apartment, I'd have jewelry taken away. It was very random depending on how Diddy felt." She also mentioned other security guards for Diddy, including Roger Bonds, Uncle Paulie, Fahim, and Malik. Christina Korm, once referred to as the Ghislaine Maxwell, I call her Ghislaine, but Ghislaine Maxwell, that's as Ghislaine was to Jeffrey Epstein, many people think Christina Korm is to Diddy. However, several high-ranking supervisors were also mentioned, but not named in the actual criminal indictment. Now, from sworn testimony to video evidence and the rapper's ever subtle move, everything was broken down. Cassie explained many things. She explained how Diddy would put his hands on her. She explained how Diddy would had a fetish of having her peed on. She explained she did not want to be peed on. And speaking of the peed on part, let me break that down for a lot of people who don't know what the hell is going on. People are saying, oh, that's a victory. Cassie said she was peed on. She said she asked to be peed on. That's a big win for Diddy in the defense. Now I say to those people, do you understand what the fuck a RICO is? See, a RICO, it don't matter if Cassie asked for it to be urinated on or whatever. It doesn't matter if Cassie is the one who paid these sex workers. Because a RICO traces it back to where the direction to do these things came from. So to those who are saying and standing up, jumping down on their table and thinking that because Cassie technically said in the text or said it verbally that she requested to be peed on, if you're saying that that is a huge win for the defense, you don't know what the hell the charges are even about. And no one should, if you hear anybody say that, stop and scroll past their fucking coverage immediately. They don't even understand the case. Because if you understood not only that this what RICO means, you also should know where RICO came from. The reason the government even came up with the charges of RICO date back to the mafia. Because see, back in the days, the mafia, the big bosses never got their hands dirty. They always had everybody else doing the shit for them. So prior to RICO, and please turn the volume up if you're one of those people who don't know what the hell is going on, because I'm just going to explain it to you. The only way the government was able to finally charge these big bosses is they came up with a little charge called RICO. And what RICO means is we're not just concerned with who literally did the act. A RICO ties everybody in. So I'm not here to say Diddy is guilty or innocent. We have a lot more of this trial to go. But what I am here to do is educate those who actually want to understand what's going on and quit saying dumb shit like, oh, she said she wanted to be urinating. Once we're talking about RICO, that has little to do with anything. They are going to prove that was this by Diddy's direction or not. Like I said, before the RICO, the mafia could get away. The big bosses never could get charged because they could put a hit out on somebody. And as long as that big boss was not the one who literally pulled the trigger, you could never bring that big boss on charges. So the government got together and said, you know what? We need to make up something called RICO. So no matter if the person pulled the trigger or not, if they called for it and they're operating their criminal enterprise, we can bring the whole fucking company down. And that, my friends, is what RICO is. Let me continue. Cassie often talked about how these freak-offs were planned and they went on for days and days, sometimes even 4 days. And it would be a mess. Like body fluids everywhere, baby oil everywhere, condoms everywhere, just destroying hotel rooms with this nastiness. And I only bring this up because we actually have another assistant who spoke on the fall of Diddy, who actually said the same exact thing. This is someone who, again, worked for Diddy and is saying the exact same thing as Cassie. So if it's proven that these freak-offs were sex trafficking, if it's proven that these freak-offs were sex trafficking and illegal, then all this cleanup that you have these workers doing and everything you had them doing will tie into the RICO and prove the prosecution's case. This is what we're dealing with here, and this is what's going on. So listen to this clip of Phil Pines, someone who worked for Diddy around 2019, 2020. Listen to what he said, and then compare that to Cassie's testimony. Thank you for the super sticker or super chat, Laura. I appreciate it. I can't get to it right now. But listen to this clip, and I'll be right back.
What would he require for a wild king night? We usually had a laundry list of items that included lights, alcohol, marijuana, ketamine, mullet, mushrooms on the top there. Was the code to the safe 1, 2, 3, 4? Baby oil and Hasbro were very important. Incense, Apple TVs, electronics, computers, iPads. Obviously, there was male libido supplements, stuff like that. Those requests started to become more frequent. They started to occur on a daily basis. There was a requirement. We had to keep those things stocked. Phil, can you come back upstairs to help me set up the red light? I would get a lot of voice notes from Diddy. Hourly, every 5 minutes, every 5 seconds. Would you ever be asked to bring things to Diddy during a Wild King night while it was ongoing? Yeah, sure. So I need some Cialis. Give me 20 Xanax, please. Hey, I need a plan B. I need 10 mushroom capsules, the microdose. Bring that out to me, please. What would you see when you would go into the room? There wouldn't be anything happening while you would go walking into the room. But there would be people there. Yeah. What can you tell us about who the guests were? A lot of times there was girls who were a little bit under the radar that didn't have a lot of influence. I think that speaks to the type of situations people were put in. A lot of times you have him with a younger female. There's a power more impressive.
Now, he basically detailed the exact same thing that Cassie spoke on the stand, which is, like I said, when if you listen to what the actual charges are, using your empire or using your company to help you carry out illegal acts. This is why we're here. Now, it is up to the judge and the jury to determine, were these acts illegal? That is what a lot of people are missing, because they are talking about this case as if this is a fucking barbershop. Like we in the barbershop talking and we just shooting from the hip and saying shit like, they were together for 10 years. She could have been left. This case over with. Shut up. Just shut up. And see, I believe, to be honest, y'all, the reason why I am able to cover this much better than my competition is because I don't approach these things worried about, is Diddy guilty or innocent? That's not my job. I approach this to say, okay, what are the charges? What exactly do those charges mean? Okay, I got that. Now, is the prosecution, the witnesses, are they proving these charges? Or is the defense disproving these charges? Whereas I believe most of my competition, if they believe Diddy guilty, then their whole coverage is slanted to Diddy guilty. If they believe Diddy is innocent, then their whole coverage is slanted to his innocence, and they missing the whole fucking point. So in the Flow Show No Filter, we're going to do what we've been doing since October 30th. Yes, I'll give you my opinion. Do I think he's guilty? Fuck yeah. But that don't have nothing to do with my coverage and what I'm trying to get out to the world. I want the world to understand these charges and what they mean, and I want the world to come up with their own opinion. Y'all don't have to, nobody has to agree with me. I don't give a fuck about that. That's not what we're here for. We're here to hold people accountable if they have done wrong. We're here to support victims as they do something that's one of the hardest. Can y'all imagine what the fuck Cassie is going through, having to go up on that stage and tell the world she's been pissed on and beat on, and then her husband is there. He got to watch this shit. Diddy's daughters, they have to watch this shit. And not only does Cassie have the difficult job of talking about her deepest, darkest secrets and share it with the world, but then she is going to get grilled by the defense in what is going to be a very aggressive cross-examination. And it's not going to be 5 or 10 questions. Her initial cross-examination might last half of the day today and all of tomorrow. And she has to sit there and answer question after question from a defense whose job it is to poke holes in her story and, in some cases, make it look like she's lying. This ain't easy. Some of the nasty stuff she talked about having to endure is, she said when the defense would when the sex worker that Diddy hired would climax, or whatever the fucking word is, finish, whatever, her job often was to take the fluid and rub it on Diddy's body and his chest and nipples and shit. Just disgusting. And another big thing that she said that nobody else really spoke on, because most people just take whatever everybody else is highlighting and talk about the same shit. But to even prove, for those out there that don't think Diddy was doing anything wrong, or they're saying shit like, man, everybody does this, and this is, you know, this is normal, and da 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 da. But one thing that Cassie said that was I thought was very damaging, and it was small. Because, you know, sometimes small things can be very powerful, because you never know what will stick out in a juror's mind. And I'll give you an example. When the OJ, well, I'm gonna say what it is first. Cassie said that Diddy would have her look for sex workers through Craigslist, through Backpage, and all these other avenues, right? Follow me. Now, she said he would have her do it all, and she would vet the people and all that. And she also said this: Diddy would make sure that I vetted them to make sure that they weren't cops, or they weren't undercover cops. Why is that so important? Because for the assholes that believe or think that nothing's wrong with this stuff. Well, if we are to believe Cassie, and Diddy had masks on and shit, and I'm gonna explain that, then if there's nothing wrong with it, why the fuck is Diddy making Cassie vet these people to make sure they're not cops? If you ain't doing nothing wrong, why would you think that some of these sex workers could be undercover cops? And why, and what do we have to corroborate what Cassie is saying to prove that Diddy was hiding behind her to make sure none of these sex workers were cops? Because if you're not doing nothing wrong, I don't understand why you would even think they were cops. Ladies and gentlemen of the Flow Show No Filter, you're not going to hear nobody talk about this stuff, and this is huge shit that happened. But not only did Cassie say this and corroborate it, but you know how we know this is the case, and we have other evidence that the defense has not disproved? Do you remember the testimony from the male sex worker. What was his name? Daniel or something, Phillips or something. Do you remember what he said? How he said Diddy was looking the very first time he saw him? He said when he pulled up to the hotel, he thought it was a bachelorette party or some shit like that. And it turned out it was only Cassie opening the door. Cassie opened the door and said, my husband likes to watch people do me, right? Well, this particular time, this was the very first time that Cassie and Diddy dealt with this sex worker. Do y'all remember how the sex worker described Diddy? At first, he didn't even know that was Diddy sitting over in the corner watching. You know why? Because Diddy had a fucking bandana tied around his face. You could only see his eyes, and he had a New York Yankee cap on. He was sitting back making sure that this sex worker wasn't a cop. And once the quote unquote sex worker started having sex with Cassie, he then knew this ain't no damn cop. And that is when he started talking during the session, and the sex worker said he recognized his voice to be Sean Diddy Combs. That falls right in line with Cassie saying her job was to vet the sex workers and to make sure that they weren't cops as directed by Diddy. And why can we make this assumption? Because the defense had a chance to cross-examine this sex worker, and they never disproved or said anything about Diddy not disguising himself with bandanas wrapped around his face where you only can see his eyes with a New York Yankee hat. They didn't say that didn't happen. So since they had a chance to cross-examine him for hours and they didn't touch that part of it, we can assume that happened. And if that happened, it lines up with Cassie saying that Diddy was trying to make sure that these weren't cops. And if Diddy was trying to make sure these weren't cops, how in the hell can y'all say he didn't do or wasn't doing anything illegal? Listen to the charges. Listen to the testimony. This isn't something that you can just shoot from the hip like I saw Little Bootsy say, she liked being peed on. This ain't no case. If it was that fucking simple, Diddy wouldn't hire a football team full of 100 high-priced lawyers that's costing him $1 million a week. Trust me, even Diddy knows some wrongdoing was done. For people to think that you can just wrap this case up in one statement and that's that, and we're here with a guy who $50 million couldn't even get him bond. We're sitting here with a guy that has $1 million serious charges that could be looking at anywhere from 15 to 25 years to life. If you can look at all that and just say, oh, they were together 10 years, this ain't no case, it ain't that fucking simple. If it was, we wouldn't be in federal court with $100 million worth of lawyers. The ignorance, one thing this trial is exposing is the ignorance, the abundance of ignorance in our society. I don't care if you're for Diddy or against Diddy. That doesn't get me riled up. I believe everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But what gets me riled up is when people are making judgments and bold statements and don't even fucking understand what the hell the charges mean. If you don't want to take 5 to 10 minutes to understand what the actual charges mean, shut the hell up. Because again, it don't bother me. If you're for Diddy, good. This is your right. That don't bother me. If you're against Diddy, I'm with you. But the many people who don't even know what the hell these charges mean and are just commenting is just annoying. And for me to see the many guys that are saying this and saying stupid stuff, it makes me ashamed of men right now. We have a handful of men that really actually understand what's going on, but it's way too many men who are in the comments saying statements sounding like they're 12 years old and don't know anything about the case and just shooting from the hip. I pray to God these men that are in the comments don't have daughters, because I feel for them. Also, you never know what's going to stick. Cassie also talked about how Diddy recorded and basically tricked her into taking drugs with a dolphin on it or whatever type of drug it was. It was a sex drug. Kind of tricked her into taking it. And that kind of how they ended up kicking off the freak offs. And she also talked about how he recorded her and he held on to the footage and used it as a blackmail tactic to say, if you ever say anything, or if you ever leave me or do anything foul, I will put this tape out and end your career. That's blackmail. That falls under the coercion situation. And why does this argument have credence? Well, she was signed to a 10-album deal and only was able to release one album. And your boyfriend, you with him for 10, 11 years, and you're only able to release one album and literally one single. That literally shows that you didn't have any intention on pushing her music. You just held it over her head. You gave her the carrot. You gave her one album. You gave her one hit for her to feel like she was about to you were going to take her music serious. And then after that, it was all manipulation. This is what I'm seeing. I don't know what everybody else is seeing. This is what I'm seeing. But let me be honest. While Cassie was being honest, some of the things she said may fall under consent by some of the jurors. May look at her saying how much she loved Diddy, how much she participated in the freak offs because she didn't want him to do it, freak offs with other people. Some of those statements can sway some jurors to think it's consent. So yesterday was not a slam dunk for the prosecution. There was a lot of damaging evidence proven by Cassie's testimony, but there were some nuggets for the defense to hang their hat on. But again, Cassie was being completely honest, and that is the most important part of when you're being a witness in a case. You don't want to just go up there just saying whatever you think is going to be damaging to the defense, and you're just going with whatever. She was being honest, and some of her honest statements can be taken another way. And let me get to the jurors. This jury, from what I'm hearing from ABC News, is comprised of 8 men, which a lot of people think is not a good thing for the prosecution. It could go both ways, because I can't say just because it's 8 men that it's going to be slanted anyway, one way or the other. But let me explain to y'all what these jurors are comprised, the jury makeup, if you haven't known. The jury, this is from ABC News, the jury hearing the case against Sean Combs is comprised of 8 men and 4 women from a variety of backgrounds. Among the men on the jury is a 69-year-old massage therapist, a 68-year-old retired former bank employee, a 41-year-old clerk for a correctional facility, and a 51-year-old scientist. Rounding out the list of men on the jury is a 31-year-old investment analyst, a 68-year-old retired former telephone company, a 39-year-old social worker, and a 67-year-old logistics analyst for a bank. The women on the jury include a 30-year-old deli clerk, a 42-year-old nursing home employee, a 43-year-old physician's assistant, and a 74-year-old treatment coordinator for a nonprofit. All the jurors, of course, are from the New York City area, 5 of them from Manhattan, 3 from the Bronx, and 4 from Westchester County. There are 6 alternate jurors, including 4 men, a 57-year-old architect, a 35-year-old unemployed man, a 40-year-old physician scientist, and a 37-year-old administrative officer with an international government organization. The 2 female alternates are a 71-year-old dance foundation worker and a 24-year-old site operator for a coffee service company. Now, from what I see, the jury is a fair for both sides. And the reason I say that is when you have usually to me, when you have complaints on both sides, normally that means to me it's fair. And I'm gonna tell you what I mean. The defense and a lot of public were upset because so many Black jurors were struck down on the final day, and a lot of them were struck down off the final jury pool. So they feel like a lot of Black people who may have helped Diddy or been a better, may have helped understand Diddy, or I don't know, whatever. But and then at the other side, the people are the prosecution or the people on that want to see Diddy sunk believe 8 men and 4 women is slanting it in Diddy's favor. So just from me, normally when you have 2 huge complaints on both sides, it's fair at the end of the day. But we shall see. But since I'm on the topic of the jury, I'm gonna stay on topic of that real quick. Got some more to say about Cassie, some more to say about the case, of course. This time is flying, but I'm not gonna rush y'all. Y'all have been so supportive. Y'all always support me. I told you I got my fresh memory card for the interface for my Apple and Spotify audio listeners. I'm not gonna rush today. I'm gonna get everything finished. However long it take, it just take, because I can't cut it short today. This is important. But one thing I'm not feeling comfortable about, and I'm hearing a lot of rumors. I'm not going to go into them right now. I'm going to give them some time to see how credible they are. But I am hearing a lot of rumors about possible or the possibility of jury tampering. And I'm not feeling comfortable with the jury as far as them being protected from outside interference. And I'm going to tell you why. And it makes me wonder, is this done on purpose or is this just a coincidence? Now, y'all listen to me, hear me out. Tell me what y'all think. Y'all can tell me in the comments. Y'all can even DM me your thoughts. You can put it in the fan mail. And remember, I can't respond to the fan mail, but you can make statements and I can pin them so everybody can read them. And I can read them and respond live on the show, but I can't reply actually in the fan mail. I don't know why that's the case, but anyway, listen to this. Diddy is maybe the most connected, if not one of the most connected men in New York City. And he's been that way for about 30 years. Okay? This connected man is literally on trial, and one of the charges has to do with intimidation, him intimidating people, him threatening violence, bribing with money, everything he can do to manipulate, right? Follow me. He has even been proven to make calls that he wasn't supposed to make and somewhat intimidate people from even behind bars, or not even intimidate, but let's just even say harassing, where we know that one of the young ladies who was in Diddy's group Dirty Money, I forget her name, but when Diddy came out with the allegations, namely Dawn Richards, a member of Diddy came out with the allegations that Diddy sexually harassed or sexually assaulted her. When those came out, it's on record that Diddy called the young lady from Dirty Money and he wanted her to speak up for him. And he called her phone over 100-something times. This is on record, right? Follow me, I'm making a point. So it's hard for me to believe that these jurors who are easily identifiable, are going to be able to go home every day and not one of them witness some type of outside interference. Which begs the question, why in the fuck is this jury not sequestered? Diddy doesn't even have to literally say anything or even he doesn't even have to make the call to say, hey, I need somebody to find out who these jurors are and get to one of the jurors. Because remember, he only needs one juror on his side to virtually beat this case. So I'm not even going down the rabbit hole of saying the conspiracy that's going around that Diddy is having jurors follow and trying to manipulate them or whatever. I don't even need to go down that rabbit hole to prove what I'm trying to prove. Diddy has friends, longtime friends, family, or whoever in New York whose livelihood depends on Diddy being a free man. What's stopping them, and who's to say none of them are going to get in contact or contact any of those jurors? You only need one, and either bribe them with money for an acquittal or a hung jury, or use intimidation to say, hey, juror number so-and-so, we know who you are. And if Diddy is found guilty, your ass gonna be in the river somewhere. And maybe your damn family. So again, ladies and gentlemen of the Flow Show, No Filter Show, y'all are my community. I love y'all. I talk to y'all like I always say, like I'm sitting at the kitchen table with Granny. This is how we would talk about current events. Very candid and very precise. Not just shooting from the hip like this is just some barbershop shit. So I ask y'all, how comfortable are y'all with members of the jury going home every day for 8 to 10 weeks as one of the most powerful men on the planet is trying to avoid being locked up for life? How comfortable are y'all that no juror is going to be interfered with? This is something I was thinking about last night because Suge Knight even brought it up. They asked Suge Knight about it. If you remember, Cassie even brought up Suge Knight in her testimony and spoke about a time where they were in the middle of a freak off or had just completed a freak off, and someone called and told Diddy that Suge Knight was at some restaurant, and this was at the height of their beef. And Cassie said Diddy put on all black, grabbed all kind of guns, and all the goons and all his comrades and whoever rolled out and were gone for 40 minutes, nearly to an hour, looking for Suge Knight. And then Diddy, and to the point where she was crying and telling them don't do nothing stupid. And then they returned, and obviously nothing happened to Suge Knight. But that goes to the intimidation part of this whole thing. But Suge Knight was asked, and he even said he believes Diddy is going to beat this and thinks that the fix is in his mind. Now, this is his opinion. And I'm not going to go that far as what he's saying, but one point he made that I agree with is by these jurors not being sequestered, he believes Diddy is going to get to one of them. And I was already, if y'all remember, we talked about being in shock that these jurors aren't sequestered. We've already spoke about that on this show. And when we first spoke about it, I'm going to be honest, I didn't think it was a huge deal, but I hadn't thought it all the way through yet. I hadn't really focused on that. Last night, I focused on the jury and the fact that they weren't sequestered. And I really put all the pieces together and said, this Diddy has been, matter of fact, a lot of people miss this too. Do y'all realize there was a juror who almost made it, who almost made the final cut if it wasn't for a last minute find by the prosecution? Do y'all realize a lot of people miss the fact that someone who went to high school with Diddy almost made it to the final cut of the fucking jury pool, in the jury pool? And it was at the last minute when the prosecution found out, say, wait, whoa. This person went to high school with Diddy. We got to get this person out of the jury. We don't know if it's been jurors planning. I don't know, and I'm not saying there is. I just pay attention to every aspect of the case, not just the nasty shit that everybody want to talk about because that's where all the clicks and clickbait and views and all that. We know it's nasty. We know about the urinating. We know about the body fluids. We know about the slippery ass baby oil. We know about all that. It ain't but so much and so much time I'm going to spend on that. Because it's not enough time spent on the actual things that really matter in this case. And like I told you, the most important part of the case is the jury. That is the heartbeat of the whole fucking case. It ain't the freak offs. It ain't the baby oil. It ain't Diddy, Cassie. The most important part of this case is the jury. And so I'm being honest. I hope I'm wrong. I just don't feel good that this jury was not sequestered, because it's hard for me to believe one of the most powerful men on the planet, for sure one of the most powerful people in New York, who's been in New York, born and raised, and has had all kind of cops in his pocket, all kind of people in his pocket, has bribed the whole city, has done all this nasty, trifling shit that we know he's done. Yet and still, this guy, Diddy, had got a key to this fucking city. Let that sink in. This guy has been doing freak offs and destroying hotel rooms across the whole United States and possibly the globe. And New York mayor gave him the key to the city. This man has been basically proven through police reports, through Kid Cudi saying it himself, saying this was true. Even Cassie saying that Diddy said he was going to blow up his car. This guy went to the great lengths of blowing up his car for intimidation, to send a message. If we just going to let these jurors go move about the New York City with no protection, and the only instructions they're given and the only help they're given is to say, the judge telling them, don't check your phones, don't look at media coverage when you go home. What in the entire fuck? I hope I'm wrong, and I could be wrong. This jury could be not tainted and everything can be fair and go as planned, and we'll see the result. That can truly happen. But I wouldn't be Flo if I didn't tell y'all some shit that's been heavy on my mind. And like I said, the fact that this jury has not been sequestered when you're dealing with somebody like a Diddy is baffling to me. Because if there was ever a time to sequester a jury, I would think that time would be now. Tell me your thoughts on that. And we're gonna continue. The show ain't over yet. Like I said, I just want to make sure I touch on everything before we get out of here. I'm not cutting it early. I'm finishing, and we're gonna talk this one through because it's a lot of unknown shit going on with this trial. And so a guilty verdict is not in the bag. Although the evidence may seem like a slam dunk, there are so many factors that can affect this outcome. We honestly don't know. I do know this is only the beginning, and we got 8 to 10 weeks. And I know the prosecution has all kinds of evidence. Cassie, although this is a big part of it, this is only a small part of this case. There is possible, arson, there's intimidation, racketeering, there's drug smuggle, like all type of other stuff that are going to be proven. And so Cassie is a big part of it, but she's not the only part of this case. And I think I want people to understand that. And before I continue, I have to shout out all of the subscribers because they make this possible. They make it and allow me to be able to come in here and say everything that even maybe people don't want you to hear. But because we are a self-sufficient podcast where the people are supporting me, my job is to the people who support this podcast. And what the people who support this podcast want is the truth and no spin. And I will gladly oblige because that is what I'm about anyway. And all the Diddy VIP people have been paying. I'm gonna announce you guys, but I need everybody to appreciate the subscribers, because if you haven't subscribed or you're not a paid subscriber, You're benefiting off these people who are taking their hard-earned money and saying, Flo, I appreciate what you're doing. You sticking your neck out for us and giving this information, and you're doing it at a level that is not matched. And so I want to pay and support you. If you aren't doing that, you need to be thanking these subscribers even more than me. So let me, without further ado, let's thank these subscribers. Number one, let's just thank, I'm going to just go straight down the list. I'm not going to go in order of who did what, but Tina Humphrey, you are a VIP Diddy trial person. I've added you to the list. Thank you for the $23 subscription. Everybody clap it up for her in the comments. Also, we got Courtney Proctor. Thank you, Courtney Proctor, for the $23. You are a Diddy Trial VIP member. You will get all exclusive coverage. I got an explosive interview coming up, you know, with Mark Curry, who was the original whistleblower, who was a rapper with Diddy, and he knows a lot of shit. He was the first one to speak on how the bottles for the women were special bottles that were spiked, and they had separate bottles for the men. I have an interview coming up with him that is going to be, it's going to break the internet. Like I told you, I got this stuff I can't even say right now that my jaw dropped to the floor. And when y'all hear it in this interview, be prepared for this podcast to go to a whole nother level. Because this interview I'm doing with Mark Curry is going to break the internet. And everybody and their mama going to be tuned in to what we talking about over here. But guess what? It's just going to be me and my community. We going to take this. I don't even want to be a part of these celebrity motherfuckers. I'm being totally honest. The stuff I have learned and uncovered, imagine there is shit I've uncovered that I can't even talk about on here yet, because I need to get more information, and I want to bring it all together once I do this interview. And at that time, I will put out a lot of stuff I've uncovered. But y'all, I'm so turned off by this industry now. And the more and the higher up in ranks I get, the more information I get from different people that I know is credible, the sadder it is. And the more that I realize sexual deviant and demonic behavior has ran rampant in this industry for years. And as bad as you may think it is, it's 100 times worse. And you guys who are subscribing will be the first ones for this information. And to be honest, the subscribers might be the only ones who get some of this information, because it is very crucial information that is, I know they don't want y'all to know. So I'll see, but these people will definitely get what I'm uncovering. But I'm telling y'all know I love music. Y'all know music is my world. I've been a music head since back as a baby all the way up until now. And literally every singer, rapper that I idolize or just love their music, all of them is doing this Diddy shit. 90% of them, man. And I don't know if I'm being too high on that 90%, but I listen, I had 2 hours of sleep. I went down this rabbit hole of what the hell really been going on in this industry, y'all. And I go to sleep early. Y'all, last night I didn't go to sleep till about 3:30 in the morning, maybe even 4. Then I had to wake up at 5:30 to get ready for this show. So I'm gonna take my ass to sleep after this show, but I couldn't put my phone down. Let me continue. Georgia, thank you for the $3 subscription. You will get exclusive information and exclusive coverage as well. I appreciate the $23, but the $3 is just as important. And I appreciate the $3 the same way I appreciate the $23. So thank you, Georgia. Emma Clifford, thank you for the $3 subscription as well. Really appreciate you, Emma. And I hope you're enjoying the coverage. Also, we have Desiree C, a VIP Diddy exclusive member, $23 subscription donation. Mary Cerna, another $23 Diddy VIP subscription donation. Thank you so much. And then we have Tammy with a $3 subscription. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Deborah, with a $3 subscription. Curious with a $3 subscription. Lisa Brooks with a $4 subscription. Thank you guys so much. Tammy with a $5. Vanetta with a $4. Erica with a $3. Katie with a $3. Tessa with a $3. All of y'all. Rex with a $3. Tracy, Daryl, all of y'all, thank you so much. I am so dedicated and passionate to my work. The more people that subscribe, the more I am going to travel. I have more interviews that I can do. And the more y'all subscribe, I'm telling y'all, the stuff I'm uncovering and the information that's coming to me that I'm not even asking for is going to make y'all jaw drop to the floor. And at the same time, it is saddening me. And it is not hard. It's like the more information I'm learning, the bigger I'm becoming, the more information that's coming my way. And it's actually very sad, man. I can't believe what the hell been going on in this industry. I knew it was bad, but like I told you, it's 100 to 1,000 times worse than I ever could imagine. And y'all will get all that information, all my subscribers. I'm looking at doing the Mark Curry interview and going to New York to the courthouse the end of this month. Let's say somewhere around the 25th, somewhere in there. You know, my son graduates and my son turns 18 on the 23rd. So I'll be in Cleveland for that. And then he graduates June 2nd. So what I'm trying to do is knock out Mark Curry's interview and go to New York in between the 23rd and the 2nd. That is what I'm aiming for. And it looks like you guys are really supporting my journalism. And to be honest, once I get my son's birthday and graduation out of the way, I am going to be traveling and uncovering all of this shit. And if y'all continue to subscribe and help me get the funds to travel, I got more interviews than Mark Curry. Man, I got so much. I can't. This only could be God. That's all I'm gonna say. Because y'all know me. I just turn this microphone on and talk to y'all. I don't give a damn. I don't chase nobody for interviews. I don't beg anybody for interviews. I don't do any of that. It's so many people asking me to go on their show. And to me, it feels like they just want me on the show to bring light to their situation, but they're not really about the cause. And so I don't care about being more famous or any of that. And so when I think about why spend my energy to go on your show when I could just dedicate myself more to my people and my show. So I'm telling y'all don't even know how much shit I turned down because I'm here for a reason, and God is bringing so much my way that I'm not even asking for, that I know that this is my purpose and I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Mark Curry interview came organically. We've been talking about all kind of stuff. And I'm telling y'all, between him and just between all the stuff I've been learning from other people who want me to amplify their story, man, this industry is fucked. And hopefully this Diddy trial will clean it up, because I'm just telling you now, people that you didn't even know was on this type the same time as Diddy, people that you don't even know was doing the exact same thing. Like, it's just gross, man. So thank you for everybody who is subscribed, and y'all are really, I don't care, you know, y'all know me, I'm more about getting to the facts, and I enjoy what I'm doing. So the more y'all subscribe, all y'all gonna get is more exclusive information and coverage, because I'm not gonna do anything but travel more and go to certain people who want me to interview them, who I know are credible and have information. The more y'all subscribe, the more I'm gonna just use that money to get the fuck out out of Dodge and continue to get more and more information. And like I said, it's just fucked up. It really is. But anyway, I'm looking through my notes, making sure I got everything covered. Today we will have Cassie will be on the stand for I think another maybe like half the day today. But being asked questions by the prosecution, and then the second half of the day, maybe by noon, maybe after lunchtime, maybe one in the afternoon or somewhere around there, she will be getting cross-examined by the defense. And I encourage all y'all to tune in to any coverage y'all can. Y'all know at the end of the day, I will drop my recap at around between 5 and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I got a feeling this cross-examination is going to trigger the whole fucking world, because the defense is going to do everything they can to damage not only the credibility of Cassie, but to try to poke holes in her story. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be offended by some of the questions and some of the treatment of that Cassie's going to endure, because cross-examinations in a case like this are tough. I'm sure Cassie's going to be crying. I'm sure there are going to be moments. I'm sure there are going to be moments where people are going to feel like the defense is being hard on her, too hard, or doing too much. So I'm telling y'all, as explosive as Cassie's testimony has been so far, once the defense gets to cross-examine her, you ain't seen nothing yet. So, like I said, continue to subscribe. I appreciate it. All the Diddy VIP members, even the ones who are already subscribed, when I get a chance, hopefully by Friday, I want to have a roll call and just name every Diddy VIP member. That way, if your name isn't on the list, you can reach out to me and say, hey, I didn't hear my name. And I'm going to make sure before I get out of here, I will keep making sure every single person who's on that list is not left behind. And I'm going to do a very diligent job to make sure everybody who is supposed to be on that list is on that list. So without further, and nothing else for me to say about that, I will see y'all tomorrow at the same time, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Nothing else to say, but bye. As always, I love y'all, but I'm out. All right, y'all, we getting Apple and Spotify loaded up. Apple and Spotify loaded up. Give me a second. Give me a second. I hope everybody's doing well. Telling you, this cross-examination of Cassie is about to be something else. I'm telling y'all that now. They are going to go after her in a big way, and they're not going to use kid gloves. I'm warning y'all now. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to hear the questions and Brian Steele. I think, I don't know, but they might not want to use a man. I know it might not be Brian Steele, because they may not want to use a man to cross-examine Cassie, because they might not like the optics of it. So it might not be Brian Steele. It actually, I believe it probably, more to think about, it's probably going to be a woman. One of the women on the defense team. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna be on for a second. I can't stay on too long because I gotta. This thing won't upload fast enough when I'm. What's up, everybody? This thing won't upload fast enough while I'm on here. It's froze. Shout out to everybody. Oh yeah, let me shout out. Damn, this thing. I don't know what's going on with this. Thank you, Lord, for the super sticker. I don't know if anybody else gave me a super sticker or a super chat. Today, I don't know what's going on with technology today, y'all, but everything is like not really operating. I can't even move the chat to talk to some of y'all. The chat is froze, but I'm dealing with it. I want to get to some of y'all questions, but I don't know what the hell is going on, y'all. This is crazy. I don't know what's going on with the software. And like I said, I forgot to mention, and Cassie is doing all this while being pregnant, while she's pregnant. So this is tough. And to have to go through cross-examination, being pregnant, telling all your darkest secrets to the world, man, I can't imagine being in her shoes. I can't imagine it. Can't imagine it. I can't imagine having to watch my mother or my sister or any women in my family for that matter. Now Dreamer, C Tuck, everybody, hey, this technology is tripping. So I gotta go ahead and try to get this loaded up. Man, DM me any questions, or if you got anything to say, make sure you send me a DM. I gotta get this episode uploaded. Look out for my update later on today. I love y'all, each and every one of y'all. But I'm out.